So you don't have to go hunting everywhere. You can actually, if you want to just go and have a look, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's something for everyone.
Absolutely. The things that I selected for everybody else, the things that don't fit in my wardrobe, but don't tell my husband. Yeah. So obviously you're not going to film the code. Like I said, it's different, you know, and different can be good. It's also very personal.
Yes.
You know, it's just you and me, baby. Although I do, like I've had people who are going to balls or events or whatever, and they want somebody else to come with them or whatever, so that's no big deal. So yeah, let's go together. They always have like Coast or you know some radio station on that's got oldies on. So it's also nice.
Yes, creates a bit of an atmosphere.
It does indeed. But yeah, once you've done it once, so I have got some of the racing ladies. One of the milliners is a friend of mine, so she comes and we go through and have a look at what could work and that sort of thing, so that's quite nice as well. There really is something for everyone, but I'm very much vintage is for everyone, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be incorporated into our everyday wear. I think we're just limited by our own creativity.
I think so.
And I think that will change over time as people begin to be a little bit more aware of climate change and that sort of thing, and then more people kind of focus on sustainability. But I really believe that we should use what we have before we get new stuff. Yeah. So I only wear vintage and retro and secondhand.
It's very
other than my undergarments. Try something on. This was where you would come. So basically, that was what I had at the very back of my shop. So we just moved it in here and put it in, so it's exactly like a fitting room. Isn't that just what you need in a shop? That's basically it. So people just buy their whatever, they try it on, and then they buy it online, and we package it up, and away you go. And this is also where I have my fitting room, which was my innovation after the last couple of years, shall we say, of changes within the retail environment. So for people who want to try stuff on, they can now. I used to have a physical space in Milford, but I have found that I don't actually need that. You don't actually need that. You just have to have somewhere that people can try things on if they want to. So nobody else is doing that.
No.
So it's completely, as I said, a different innovation that really seems to work. So that's awesome.
How cool.
Why would you pay so much money in rent and give all your profit to your landlord, because there's not a massive amount of money to be made in dealing in clothing that's been worn before or hasn't, which is some of the things that I've got. But so there's that. So this goes right to the back wall.
How long have you been doing this for, Steph?
I started collecting clothes, I would say, probably when I was about 15. It's still something that's wearable, and I don't subscribe to any kind of age appropriate thing. So, you know, wear what you like, wear what you want every day. If this is going to be my ghost outfit, I'm happy with that. I go to the supermarket, I go to drop off my daughter at school, you know, any normal thing. I'm probably not going to walk the dog in this, but, you know, I just think you should dress with your stuff every day. Don't save it for later. Today is later. Yeah. Yeah, you can basically just choose a color and we can go, right, what's really cool in this cool lot of stuff? This is definitely one of my favorite dresses. To me it looks like a giraffe. I don't know. Ooh. It looks kind of like a giraffe, and I've got photos of me in it, but the pattern is just so cool. And I love all the shearing on there. It's crunchy cool. So there's that. Again, you know, it's black, but I mean, I only think that if you're going to wear black, make it vintage, because again, there's like so many different colors you can wear. Why would you wear? So here's a gorgeous piece. So that beautiful piece is she just had it as a ball dress. You know, that's just amazing fabric and full petticoat that matches and everything. And the back's got this beautiful bow. So the next time I go to a ball, I will be wearing that. That's another New Zealand designer. I think this one's Michael Matau. And it's got this amazing belt. It's missing a couple of the diamantes, but really, who cares, right? And it's got a big cape that you wear, big shawl that you put on to go with that. Incredible incredible pieces of our history. I collect these. One day I'll open up and I don't normally keep things in plastic. With that, I have a collection that's immaculate. So you don't have to wear them together. We're not in the 80s. You don't have to go to work wearing a suit unless, you know, I don't know, maybe lawyers still do it. I have no idea. I'm not in the corporate world. Beautiful pieces. That's just a long maxi skirt and a lovely jacket. But no, you don't find these fabrics and those laces unless you're hunting in op shops for an eternity, and a lot of the time the volunteers throw it away. The mentality still a lot of the time that if you're wearing second hand, that means that you don't have any money, or that, you know, it's not as good. But in actual fact, to me, all of this is way better. For these things to have been in here, not in here, but have been around for 70 plus years and still look brand new, that's a quality piece of clothing to me. I don't think you find that in very many other beautiful jackets. Oh, look at this. I think that's a French one. That's really cool fabrics and all of the detailing and the cut. You know, we don't have the time or the money for designers to be able to do that kind of stuff without it costing a lot of money. And I mean, look, a belt at the back to nip it in at the waist, because everyone has a waist. All the 70s stuff, all the embroidery and everything, just incredible work. These beautiful satins and silks, amazing stuff. I mean, yeah, as I say, there's some just simple pieces that you just put on, and you wouldn't know that that wasn't a current piece, but when you touch the fabric, you just know that is an exceptional piece of work. God, isn't it shiny? Gotta have shiny stuff. Gotta have shiny stuff in your wardrobe. Now, who does that? You know, and then goes, oh, the sleeves also need to have that to complete the project.
Where will you find that today?
Where would you find this? I don't think you would find that. You'd have to go vintage. But each, you know, I guess that's the beauty of vintage, is that there's probably only one. This is probably the only one in the world of this. And especially since this one is handmade. So you would never have another piece like this. Where were they going in this? You know, were they going on a date? Was this for hosting for a new job? They had, you know, invited everybody round for a dinner party or something like that. And, you know, was it longer and somebody's cut it off? Was it a full hostess gown? Who knows? All of the history with these pieces. It's just, they're incredible. You can make your own stories with them. All of the patterns on them are different. So how do you choose? How do you choose what's going to go and what's going to stay? It's near impossible. But yeah, just beautiful. Pieces like this, they're usually pretty munted. And so I've tried to find a whole bunch that are not. Pieces from different cultures, because it's the same as the fur. It was created to be worn, and as long as you're wearing it with respect, there's no reason why you shouldn't use them. You have Western cultures wearing other cultures' clothing. There's an African dress right there that I got in France. If they're not used, then what's going to happen? You know, look at that. Incredible work. But yeah, I think you've got Western cultures wearing other cultures' clothing, and as long as you're doing it with respect, then those other cultures are also wearing Western-styled clothes. So isn't it kind of the same thing? As long as it's with respect. So yeah, this is, I mean, I don't know if you can feel that. The weight of this is just, it's quite a lot. They came from a gentleman who goes to Japan. He resells kimono, but he would say, "Oh, Steph, do you want any of these?" So I get first dibs and have a little pick through those. This wedding dress is just one which I had out. Handbags, I haven't done any of the handbags. It's a lot. But yeah, as I say, this isn't even my stuff. My stuff's in that little corner back there. But yeah, my wardrobe has a room of its own, which has yet to be built because we're renovating. But yeah, it's a lot, and I'm having to cull because I can't bring everything into the storage. Advertising. And travelled all over the world and just buy vintage stuff wherever she was, and bring it back. And then she's changed jobs a couple of times, so now she doesn't feel it's appropriate. But you know, that's a very unique pair of leather pants, that's for sure. None of them were created, you know, to be really serious, you know, other than maybe wedding dresses. Or funeral wear, but maybe I didn't choose anything like that. Maybe I chose all the stuff that's for fun, because I love to see people smile when they put it on. It's such a joy to share. Yeah. And lots of people, maybe they go through their whole life and they don't get to see a whole bunch of cool stuff like this all at once. And yeah, just amazing. Might not seem like very much just like that, but if you feel the fabric and look at all of the detailing on it, it's not just a crummy dress. This lady was she is tall, fashionista, loved her clothes and things like that, and just didn't want it to end up in landfill, or not to someone who didn't really love it. And that's where, I kind of want all of these things to go. If I'm not going to have them, because clearly I love them, if I'm not going to have them, then they should be with somebody else who's going to love them and respect them for the rest of the time that they're here. And I mean, I've got wedding dresses, which I haven't even cut into that yet. Those would probably be something that's, somebody needs to really put on, but...
Yeah. May I ask why you called your store the Painted Bird?
It's called Painted Bird because my husband didn't like any of the names that I came up with. So just sitting up in bed and, scrolling, looking at stuff, whatever, and he turns to me and he goes, "What about Painted Bird?" I said, "Painted Bird what? What are you talking about?" And he said, painted bird, like a woman all dressed up to the nines, a painted bird. I said, "Ooh, I think I like that. That sounds like my kind of story." Yeah. It's a collection, and if I died tomorrow, my daughter would have all of this as an income and my stuff that she didn't pick